Okay, so this is our Noises Off review.
And wow, this show was a lot better.
Yes, it was.
Than The Love of Three Oranges.
Yeah, we saw this the day after The Love of Three Oranges, and so that really affected how I felt going into it. Love of Three Oranges really lowered the bar.
Yeah.
But I saw in the script that they put on Clue and Urinetown. I really like both of those productions.
RIT players, the people who put the show on? Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember if you saw both of those.
I saw Urinetown. I liked Urinetown. I didn't see Clue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The director's notes was just, it said, like, his favorite form of plays and stuff was comedy and farce. It also said it was a farce within a farce. Mm-hmm. So I was really curious as to how that was going to work.
Yeah, and I think it came out really well. There was a lot of crude jokes, which is what I was expecting in a farce. There was a lot of more physical comedy. It wasn't necessarily slapsticky, but it was more...
Well, the second act was more physical slapstick, I think.
Yeah, but it just came off a lot better.
Yeah.
Other expectations... that was basically it.
Yeah.
So coming into the theater, what did we see?
It was just the curtain down, and then there was some like sort of light, not really attention-grabbing music.
And I think Ingle is just a better theater than Panera, so I think that helped too. It's a lot steeper angle on that proscenium stage, so I think that helps get viewing angles for everyone. So what about the acting?
It was good. At first, so I mentioned this in Love of Three Oranges, but at first I wasn't really that invested in the play because I didn't really know what to expect, and there wasn't like a warm-up scene that was just like a ton of jokes right there to get you sort of paying attention and listening. So at first, like the director was, instead of laughing at the way he was just destroying everyone on stage, I was just like, oh wow, this guy's an asshole. But as it went on, I liked all of that more and more. And the actors did a really great job in general.
And I thought the set design was great. The use of the set and just the stage in general, how they showed us how it looks in the front. It was designed really well. They're just doors, and then a few on-stage props. The only one that got really used at all was the phone, but they did move the others.
Well,
there was nothing that wasn't used.
Yeah.
But the phone got the most attention drawn to it.
Yeah, the phone. Well, especially in the third act, the phone was all over the place, literally. But the sardines were great, just because of how often they were mentioned and everything,
and how often they fell off.
And the many problems that they had, and then just the second act and then the third act, you kind of saw a progression of them forgetting more and more what props they need and all of that. So stuff just got left on stage, and then they messed up otherwise. So just the props really were like they like set things up well in the first act with all the props. And you saw all the blocking go, and then you just saw them completely mess it up later on. And so it was this really great, like, sort of laying a joke for later.
And then speaking of the second act, I really liked how they flipped the stage around and we got to see behind. I thought it was a really interesting stage design, like concept, that you really only have to make one set and you just paint both sides of it. Which saves some work for the set designers, but it also looks really cool for the audience. To be able to peel back the curtain and see what it looks like behind. I thought that was really, really well done. Costumes, really good.
Yeah, I mean, they fit the like play setting because pretty much everyone was in their like dress for the play. I didn't really get a feeling of what era it was supposed to be in, so it kind of felt a little timeless because of it.
No, I thought it gave off a strong 50s, 60s vibe.
Well, that's what the interplay was.
Oh,
if you think about what everyone else was wearing, it's just like Like the director was wearing
Just black.
well, all the backstage people in the second act and the third act that's what they were wearing. But the director in the first act, that's the only time where you could get like feeling of the time, and he was just wearing like a button-down shirt and dress pants. So it was hard to get a read off of that, but it didn't really matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the lighting was used for a few bits, and it was great. And then the sound effects were really good at immersing yourself into like the theater area.
The glass breaking effect.
Yeah.
Good sound. I like that. What was successful in the story?
Pretty much every joke.
Yeah.
They all landed. One of my favorite things about it was that in the first act, when you saw people break, one of the actors, he always said, you know. So you know.
You know.
Yeah.
You know.
You know. You know. And then when they went off script in the third act, when he tried to explain to the audience what was going on, he was always like, so this is happening, you know. And so it was really awesome to see the actors like act within actors and all of that.
They did an amazing job of setting up everything that was funny in the second and third acts was established in the first, and they didn't outright say like this is exposition, this is what the characters do in their lives.
Yeah.
It just felt natural. They talked about the alcoholism. They talked about Vicky being kind of an airhead, and then it just got funnier as the show went on.
Yeah, and Dottie kept forgetting props, and she like had to rehearse just walking into a scene and then walking out many times.
Yeah, that was most of Act 1. It was just her walking in and out.
And so, like, all of that stuff was really great to see, and it all paid off.
Was there anything that didn't feel good? Anything unsuccessful?
So the third act, despite having all of those cool elements, in general, it kind of felt like, especially compared to the second act, which was just hilarious, just throughout. The third act was like it was more obvious what was going on all the time, and there's sort of less happening throughout.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit slower.
Yeah, and it just I think it needed more jokes. And then also the resolution at the end. I know that it was supposed to be sort of like this ham-fisted resolution as they try to just get this play done, but it still left kind of a hollow feeling after it.
Yeah, I know I left. That was my only comment leaving the show, is that I wanted to know what happened with Dottie's baby.
Not Dottie.
Not Dottie? Oh, no. Poppy's baby. Yeah, that was really all I left wanting.
Yeah.
So the theme's basically just keeping the show together. But overall, walking out of the show felt good.
Yeah. I was kind of like, so we saw it on Sunday for the matinee, and there was so much stuff happening during the second act, and everyone was doing something. So like seeing it again for the second act, like would have actually been nice. Because I was looking at things out here, because we saw it with Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
So I was looking at other things on stage, and I would just hear Ryan, like, gasp or say something like that, and Marielle did, like, the same thing. And so I sort of pieced together what happened, but...
there was so much going on.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see it again. When I walked out of the theater, what I took away from the show was that comedy looks really easy when it's done well, as opposed to Three Oranges, which it was quite obvious that comedy's hard because it wasn't done well there.
It was just like pretty much every element of the play went off great, and so it was really awesome to see that. And then so the final rating,
I would give it a 4.5 out of 5.
I agree, just because of the ending, really.
Yeah, that was the only thing keeping it back. If the ending was a little bit better, third act had a few more jokes, it would be a 5 for me.
Yeah.
Either way, I would very much recommend seeing it, and I would love to see it again myself.
Yeah. I would actually be interested to see if there's like a movie of it, because there's a movie of Clue. I don't know which one came first, but that would be interesting to see. But the why, I mean, everything in this play is for comedy. Everything is trying to get a laugh. And so that's just the purpose of it. And so that's why people should see it. That's why everything in it happened. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, that's our review.